I do appreciate, like, a naked cat. Or a hairless cat. I should say naked. Naked's a weird term for it.
Spencer, you think they just changed? They have different little fur outfits they put on every day? Hello and welcome to the Art of Costume. I'm Elizabeth Joy Glass.
And I'm Spencer Williams. Elizabeth. Hi.
It's our first episode.
It's our first episode. This is insane.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of the Art of Costume.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
This is so exciting.
This is crazy.
This is a solid 6 months of planning. Yeah.
Very solid. But we've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. And I still can't believe we're actually doing it.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm definitely nervous. We know what we're doing, kind of. Okay, I don't know. Actually, that's just the nerves talking.
Yeah. We know what we're doing. We hired a sound engineer, a.k.a. our friend Daniel White.
We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about movies and TV shows and all of our favorite costumes or costumes we don't like. We're just going to talk fashion.
All of our thoughts and feelings are going to be out there. We are a costume-centered podcast. However, we will interject our personal feelings about each and every film as we go scene by scene through all of these.
And I have a lot of feelings. So this is kind of like my own therapy session, talking through each movie and show.
Okay. Good to know.
Elizabeth, what are we watching today for our first episode?
For our first episode, we are watching the Disney reimagining of the famous villainess from 101 Dalmatians. Today, we are watching Cruella.
Oh, I love this movie. It was so good.
It was so good. When you were first like, let's do Cruella for our first episode, like, I was not excited. I did not like the trailer. The trailer just seemed like very like boring and like it was just going to be like a very petty storyline.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the old washed up fashion designer steals the young spunky fashion designer's designs and then fires her. Real original. But then it's not that at all.
No, I loved it. I thought it was so fun. I'm not a big Disney person, as you know. Like you have to do some convincing to get me to watch a Disney movie. Unless it's like Marvel, of course, or Star Wars.
Honestly, I'm actually the same. There are quite a few like Disney films that I still have not seen, that if I told people I hadn't seen them, they'd probably freak out.
Hey, I'm with you. We could talk about it after so we don't get
so we don't
roasted.
alienate any potential fans. I was so happy that they kind of went the Maleficent route with her to like make... Oh,
I see what you're saying.
To make her sympathetic, but like not too sympathetic.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't regret any of her actions.
No, no.
And the costumes in this movie are insane.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I think we should just head into...
Yeah, let's just get started.
And then we can go behind the wardrobe and talk about this.
All right. So I put together a little summary. Like I said, I'm trying to put together summaries in my own words. All right. This is how I took it when I was watching a movie. So here's our first summary. Estella, a young fashionable girl with creative aspirations who is recently orphaned, meets a pair of thieves who appreciates her mischievous lifestyle. During the 1970s punk revolution in the streets of London, Estella begins to work for fashion legend Baroness von Hellman. Estella embarks on a journey of revenge when she discovers the shocking truth behind her mother's death. With fashion as her weapon, loyal dogs, and chosen family, Estella becomes the icon we have all come to know, Cruella de Vil.
Yeah. That's about it. That's like really the bare bones. Now that we've gone through the summary, I just want to stop here for a second and let everybody know this is not a spoiler-free podcast.
No. Absolutely not.
If you haven't seen Cruella and you care about spoilers, you gotta stop here. Don't go any further. Go watch Cruella and pick back up.
Press pause right now on whatever you're listening to. Go watch Cruella. If you're in the car, make sure you pull over to the side of the freeway first. Watch Cruella. And then start driving again.
Just safely make your way to a theater.
I like the idea more.
Don't sit on the side of the highway on your iPhone. Plus, this is not a movie that should be watched on your iPhone. The costumes are too good for that.
Oh, I agree.
So let's go behind the wardrobe, guys. Let's see what brought this incredible wardrobe together. So the director of this film is Craig Gillespie, but the genius behind this wardrobe is Jenny Beavan. I did not realize how many amazing films this woman has done. Let me just take you through her notable films. Are you ready, Spencer?
I'm ready.
One we all know and love, apparently. I've actually not seen this yet. Mad Max Fury Road, for which she won an Oscar.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
The King's Speech, another brilliant one.
Mm-hmm.
Gosford Park, which I actually have no idea what that movie is, but every article I read brought it up as a notable film of hers. So we might have to look into that, Spencer.
Add it to the list.
She also costumed Room with a View, and she makes Helena Bonham Carter look incredible in that film. Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Ever After. The 1995 Sense and Sensibility with Emma Thompson. So she's been working with Emma Thompson for a very long time. She did the historical epic Alexander with Angelina Jolie. And a little more recently, she did the costumes for The Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
Oh, I love those costumes.
She is truly an incredible designer. Across all different award shows, she's gotten a total of 55 nominations and 25 wins. 10 of those is for the Oscars, with 2 wins. She's gotten 11 BAFTA nominations with 3 wins.
Wow.
5 Emmy nominations with 2 wins. So this woman, she knows what she's doing. She's the real deal. And
Jenny is the real deal.
So creative. Just from doing Regency era Jane Austen Sense and Sensibility to Mad Max Fury Road. I'm like, that's quite the range.
Yeah, and I believe she's actually on the set right now of Furiosa, the prequel to Mad Max.
She is. But let's get back to Cruella. So for Cruella, she really had to create quite the wardrobe. Obviously, like you said, this film is all about fashion and how people use fashion. She, in all the interviews I saw with her, she said she really didn't focus so much on the fashion. I mean, obviously, they take a lot of inspiration from the 1970s, especially the punk scene, because that's where Cruella is set. So she took that inspiration, but she said she was always worried about telling the story. That's how she got to these incredible costumes. Clearly, it was no small feat. Let me take you through some facts about the wardrobe for Cruella. Emma Stone's Cruella wardrobe consisted of 47 pieces.
Oh my god.
Emma Thompson's wardrobe for the Baroness consisted of 33 pieces.
Wow.
And Paul Walter Hauris as Horace, they each of them had a 30-piece wardrobe.
That's insane.
So this is just costume after costume after costume. They had, I don't know how many extras at all of those party scenes. And I believe this was filmed pre-COVID. So those are all actual background actors. They had to dress who knows how many dozens of background actors. It is insane the work that went into this. And it's no surprise. Cruella's reported budget was $200 million.
Hello.
So it's like, okay, half of that went to wardrobe.
You would think.
There's just there's so much. It's all very, very beautiful. Like, she hits every single beat perfectly. And according to a Vanity Fair article, she was really allowed to, like, just do her own thing, do what you would like, but the studio instructed her, make it conceivable that Stone's Cruella could possibly one day turn into Glenn Close's version of the character. That's a quote from Vanity Fair.
Oh, I love that.
I've never seen the Glenn Close version of Cruella, like the movie of it, but I've seen pictures of her, and I'm like, yeah, she could turn into her.
I love those movies. I used to watch them all the time. And I do see a parallel. I do see Emma Stone's character one day becoming Glenn Close's character. I believe Glenn Close was actually an executive. I don't know if she's executive. She was actually a producer on this film.
Oh, really? That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I guess she really likes Cruella.
Well, I mean, it's so funny. Like, so many people our age, I mean, that's how they know Glenn Close was playing Cruella back in the day.
Yeah. Obviously,
Glenn Close has done so much more than just 101 Dalmatians. But a lot of people know Glenn Close as Cruella DeVille, so I believe she wanted to have a hand in anything Cruella DeVille that's going forward.
I could see that, yeah. Also, one last little behind the wardrobe fact. Not once does Cruella DeVille have a cigarette in this movie. And it's for a great reason. This is Disney. This is a children's film. Disney will no longer promote smoking in any of their movies.
That's so funny.
So, apparently, like, Emma Stone was actually kind of excited to, like, hold and work with that. But she was like, oh no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Children's movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they create a whole new kind of iconic Cruella, just minus the cigarettes.
I didn't even realize that when I watched it. I've watched it a couple times now, and yeah, that never dawned to me.
Apparently, I'd have to double check myself on this, but they've actually put like a lot of money and effort into going into the old films and digitally taking out cigarettes. Like, they're committed.
I love that, though.
That is cool.
That's cool.
Should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm so ready. Those are some brilliant behind the wardrobe facts. I'm just so hyped to get into this movie. So let's take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to start Cruella. Elizabeth, are you ready to get this movie going?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so we start the movie, and Estella, not Cruella, this is Estella. She was born with black and white hair, and so she's already kind of the odd one out. It's very strange, but also very cool.
Yeah, that was like a cute little shot of the baby with like half white hair, half black hair. I was like, aww. Look at you.
And we kind of fast forward to Estella going to school.
She looks fabulous, but she's like getting into trouble. Probably taking dodgeball a little too seriously, although she looks really cute in that scene too, with like what are those? She has like the crossing like sashes or something.
Yeah, she has like this cool outfit with these like crossing lapels almost that looks like leather. Well, when you brought up dodgeball, it kind of gave me some flashbacks. I hated dodgeball. People took it way too seriously. I mean, we're not trying to kill each other. Lunch is after this, you know?
The advantages of going to cyber school. I didn't have to deal with that.
Oh, well, lucky you. Yeah, I was the one that was notoriously getting pelted by balls all day.
That's unfortunate.
Back up. Estella is wearing this printed jacket that has like, it looks like she like school doodles all over the sleeves of it.
I'm like, are you just really in school vandalizing your uniform all day? Like,
yeah, I mean, she's not focused. Clearly, she's not focusing on school. She's focusing on looking amazing, and she's getting bullied for that.
Yeah.
And
which is unfortunate.
It's unfortunate because her style is crazy, and it sucks that people feel the need to make fun of other people because they're not the same as you.
I know, and it's like, she is like a fun, outrageous, very outspoken person, but she's forced to like try and fit in. And it's like, that's not who you're meant to be. Be you. But all those kids in that school are like such bullies.
Terrible.
But she does make some friends, like Anita Darling.
And Anita Darling is darling. I love her.
She is darling. I wish she had been in the movie a little bit more. I really liked her character.
Yeah, she's an underused character, but I think we'll get there. But also, her jacket is full of embellishments, too. She has pins. She has buttons. She has bows. She has lots of bobby pins. She has everything.
Like, honestly, like, that, her lapel full of the pins, like, that was my favorite. And then, like, she's got her Converses all, like, painted up like kids do today.
Right.
And I'm like, you are really just, like, you're out here to do the most, and I love it.
I love it. But all of this being said, that kind of leads to her getting expelled. But Estella's mom is quickly like, no, actually, she's withdrawn. You can't expel.
I love that.
Her mom is her biggest cheerleader right now.
She is. However, her mother also recognizes her character defaults. Mm-hmm. Because, because she's this outrageous person, she does have a little bit of a temper. So she does kind of, like, give it back to the kids serving it to her. And one night, when her and her mom are, like, sewing away, she's complaining about the kids. And her mother's like, that is cruel. You are cruel, Ella. And I'm like, oh, there's where it comes from. Aww. There's the name.
I love that.
Her mother gives her nickname. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. But I think I would have cried a lot if my mother called me that. But anyway, her mother recognizes that this is not the place for her. A small town. She sees that her daughter is going places. And she's like, okay, let's pack it up and go to London.
We're going to London.
But we need to make a tiny, tiny little pit stop.
A little pit stop.
And that's where everything goes downhill.
I mean, that's quite the understatement.
Yeah. So they're driving down, and she's like, oh, Mom, you're wearing, like, your pretty dress, which is this gorgeous, like, very, kind of, like, it reminded me a little bit of Dior.
Very Dior.
And her mother is played by Emily Beechman, who does a fantastic job. But I thought she was, for, like, the hottest of seconds, I thought she was, oh my gosh, who's the woman in Jurassic Park? Or Jurassic World?
Bryce Dallas Howard?
I thought she was Bryce Dallas Howard. I was like, that's really weird that, like, Bryce Dallas Howard would, like, take this role. But then I was like, oh, wait, no, Elizabeth, don't be stupid. That's not her.
It's because we just recently watched Jurassic Park, so.
That's true. But, like, she has, like, the same color hair and, like, kind of styled, but.
I can see it.
Yeah. But she's wearing this very cute, like, Dior-ish little ensemble, and they pull into a massive estate, which over the door says Hellman Hall.
Ooh, that's like a good name for your, like, Wi-Fi router.
They pull into Hellman Hall, and things are busy at Hellman Hall. There are cars pulling up, there are people getting out who look like they're about to go party at Versailles. There are service people, there are cakes, flowers, everything's coming in and out. And Estella is just automatically, like, fascinating.
Yeah, I don't blame her. As soon as I saw one costume, I was like, oh, that's an interesting outfit for the 60s. And then we get inside, and it's a full-on 18th century, like, French Revolution costume party. Now I know what I'm doing for my birthday next year.
Yeah, like, it is all out. Estella is fascinated, but her mom's like, I need to go talk to somebody. We need a little bit of help to London. So I'm going to go talk. You're going to stay right here with your dog. And I'm going to give you my very special necklace, which is an heirloom. It's this beautiful, like, red pendant necklace. And she's like, okay, here's my necklace. Hide. Puts a hat on her. She's like, here, hide. Stay with the dog, hide. I'll be right back. you see her mother off talking to, like, a very important-looking man played by Mark Strong from such movies as Shazam, 1917, The Kingsman.
Oh.
I love him. I don't know about you. I was really excited when I saw him. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he did a great job in this role. I liked him a lot.
I was like, it's Merlin. He's here. But, of course, Estella's trying to be, she's trying to hide. She's trying to be good. She's trying not to let her impulsive tendencies get the better of her. But she just sees too many things that she cannot resist and goes into the party. And it is a huge 18th century French Revolution fashion show.
And it blew my mind.
I know. I was not expecting that.
It was stunning beautiful. Jenny Beavan, costume designer. I was speechless actually seeing this scene. And this is like in the first, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So I was like, if this is how we're starting the movie, like, where are we going from here?
Yeah. I mean, that set the bar so high. So high. And it's like everyone is in the same color scheme. Like the girls on the runway just are beautiful and perfect. It's really quite the scene to behold. But unfortunately, Estella can't just sit on the side in her cute little schoolgirl uniform and watch things because she brought her dog with her for whatever reason.
Do we have to bring the dog everywhere? I mean,
I know. Well, the dog did low-key escape from her.
And the dog was really cute. So
I know.
I don't blame the dog for following her because this dog is cute and needs to be seen. Buddy.
I know. Wait, Buddy. Buddy's adorable. Buddy's
Team Buddy.
The dogs in this really take the cake. But she's chasing after Buddy. Mark Strong sees her. He is John the valet in this. That's right. John the valet sees her and is like, who is this intruder? He looks really mad. He looks ready to strangle her. So she's like, uh-oh, gotta go get my dog and get out of here. So she's running, and then all of a sudden, no wonder Cruella doesn't like Dalmatians, because she's got a pack of 3 Dalmatians chasing her down, ready to tear her throat out.
These are some mean-looking Dalmatians, too. I was caught off guard.
I know, I did not expect that, because it's the animated one, it's cute little Dalmatians just trying not to be murdered by, an insane maniac.
Yeah.
But then here, the dogs are I will murder you.
Elizabeth, are you a dog person or a cat person?
I'm a cat person. I don't get me wrong, I like dogs. Dogs are fine. I was terrified of dogs till I was in college. It was a real problem. It was a real problem for a very long time. In middle school, I started to tolerate them. I was deathly afraid of dogs in elementary school.
Wow.
Get up on a chair, freak out. I didn't want them touching me. I didn't want them licking me. My mom...
It's not that unusual.
No. And also, my one aunt and uncle, they had a very big, friendly Labrador when I was very, very young. And my mom thinks, because she would, jump up on me when I was, a very small little toddler. So my mom thinks that was the precipitating incident of my horror.
If there's anyone listening right now with a fear of dogs, I'm sorry if the past couple minutes have been kind of scary for you.
I'm sorry, but it is okay. I'm here to let you know you can get through it and come out the other side and be okay with dogs. If someone, I barely had any opinions of them even being cute. Now I'm dogs are cute and cool.
Yeah.
If I ever have one, it will only be for protection.
Well, I am a dog person.
You are a dog person.
I'm definitely a dog person. I appreciate cats from a distance, mostly because I'm allergic. So it's
fair.
That's not a situation I try to get into. I do appreciate a naked cat. Or a hairless cat. I should say naked. Naked's a weird term for it.
Spencer, you think they just changed? They have different little fur outfits they put on every day? They just, like, have little, like, I think I'm gonna be an orange cat with white stripes. Like, ooh, or should I be a black cat with a white stripe right down the middle and just put a skin on?
Putting on their little black and white wigs and black leather punk jacket.
I think that's what you think cats do.
All right, enough with the cats and dogs. Let's get out of this mansion.
Let's get back to the sad reality that Estella is an orphan who just witnessed her mother's murder via a ravenous pack of dogs.
So Estella ends up making it to London. She goes to this fountain she's talking about with her mother.
That was so sweet. Yeah.
So sweet, bittersweet.
Yeah, because they had talked about getting tea at this fountain, and she's like, well, I'm here, Mom, but there's no tea.
But she does find her two soon-to-be new friends, Jasper and Horace.
She does.
And
through their dog, Wink, very adorably coming up and being like, what's going on here?
I would like to do a podcast episode just about Wink, the dog, who's wearing a little eye patch.
Wink has some of the best outfits in this.
I agree.
Like, Wink's, the whole wardrobe is amazing, but pay special attention to Wink.
Yes, definitely. Wink is a trendsetter.
Yes.
Trendsetter.
So, she dyes her hair red and turns into Emma Stone.
That made me sad when she's dyeing her hair. I love the black and white hair so much.
It was so good, but it's like, that's what a young kid would think is like what they have to do is change who they are.
So fast forward to many years later, and like Elizabeth said, Emma Stone is now playing Estella, and she's all grown up, and we see her in this black pinstripe suit, and I'm obsessed with this suit. It's alright, we're starting off well.
We are. And the three of them have grown up to just, like, basically be grifters and con artists. And that's just how they make their living. And it's adorable how she makes all their disguises. I was like...
Oh, I know. I love it. She's just sewing along all these disguises.
She is.
We see one outfit with this disguise with a headband. That's so cute.
Yeah.
I love this one disguise she has where she's wearing, like, this giant black furry muff with cheetah print.
Oh, where they're pretending to be, like, Russian in the jewelry store.
She literally looks like Moira Rose. I love it so much.
The cheetah print sweater with the black fur and, like, the chained...
It's so good.
...gold belt, and Wink has, like, that little, like, plaid vest on.
Even the dog is dressed well.
And she's screaming like a really bad Russian accent. It's amazing.
We could just end the movie right here, and I would have been satisfied with what I've seen so far.
I know. I would have been like, okay, cool. And then one day she tries to kill puppies. Great. She looks good. I also love their, like, their bus. Their little bust heist.
Oh, yeah.
Where she has, like, the black pinstripe, like, pencil skirt suit. The gray. She looks very, like, oh, don't mind me, with her, like, her gray coat and, like, the scarf tied around her chin and the big glasses.
That's so good.
It is so good. And then, like, Jasper right next to her and just, like, that just plain tan with the bowlery hat. I'm like, oh, we're not suspicious at all. Don't mind us.
I think it's so cool. I love this idea of her being at home just kind of sewing all these disguises every night. It was like evil Project Runway.
I know. Because I feel like so many of these, it's like, oh, yes, I was doing this, this, and this, but, like, I wanted something more out of my life. And she's like, I do want something more out of my life, but she's still, like, she's very content.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that she's not like, ugh, I hate, like, being a grifter. She's like, no, this is cool. Like, I got my family. I do what I love to do. It's not exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I'm still doing it.
So some costumes I want to mention at this part. First was Jasper's black shirt that has, like, this white trim on it. Oh, I love that shirt. He's kind of pairing it with these plaid pants.
He, like, clearly just lets Estella dress him.
Oh, obviously. Totally. So Estella got a job, and now she's going to go work at the Liberty store, the pinnacle of fashion in London.
Oh, yes. But it's not quite what she thought it would be.
Not quite, but still, you know it's not quite what she thought it'd be, because she's walking up to Liberty in, like, this really nice black outfit. She's wearing her little beret, looks very fashionable. And she gets there, and she's a janitor.
Yes.
So, happy birthday.
And she is constantly trying to get the attention of the store manager, because she knows she can do a good job with the windows or being on the floor. But he's just like, did you clean what I tell you to clean? Okay, cool. This man, he gave me so much anxiety just because I was like, oh my gosh, like, he is going to have a heart attack in 2 seconds.
Ugh, I know.
Like, he is so, like, stuffy and stressed out and, like, uptight. I'm like, how are you still alive?
He's exhausting. But what was not exhausting was the actual fashion we saw walking through this building down to the restrooms that Estella's cleaning. I mean, like, again, Jenny Beavan designed the costumes for this set, and it felt like we were just looking at real footage from the 1970s punk fashion movement.
Well, the store isn't quite punk. It's a little more like,
back up on that. Yeah,
a little more mainstream, but it's still great. Like, people are walking in and out of the store. They look like, oh, I'm the fanciest dresser. These people are trendy. They have beautiful outfits, and as tired as she is to be cleaning everything, you can tell she just feels like so lucky to be there until she gets into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, she's, taking out the trash, which, by the way, I loved how they made her little maid outfit look all trashy and dirty, which you don't really see a lot in this movie.
No.
But she kind of gets drunk and is hanging out in the window display, which I thought, by the way, the window display, I thought the dress looked very nice. But Estella doesn't like it. So now I'm questioning my choices now.
So she also, by the time she's thrown those out, the door has closed and locked behind her, so she has no choice but to walk through the front of the store looking disgusting with a piece of banana on her face and just horrify her boss even more.
Yeah, her boss is already horrified because she totally redid the window display, went to this really cool newspaper gown.
That's after Spencer. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah, you're right.
He's horrified.
You're right. I'm sorry. Back up, delete that.
So he is horrified that she looks like a piece of trash walking through their store. And is like, my office now. Pretty sure he's about to have a heart attack, but we see why he's not having a heart attack. He's got that good whiskey in a nice little beautiful decanter.
Oh, yeah.
In his office, and he's, like, taking little shots all day, apparently.
I feel thirsty now.
And she's like, I'm sorry. This is my bad. Totally my bad. However, that like display out front is trash. Much like how I look right now, I can do a better job. And he's like, no. And she's like, okay, please just don't fire me. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to fire you. You're just going to clean my office top to bottom. So she's there, and she lets her impulses get the better of her as she drinks all of his whiskey. Yeah,
I mean, I understand why she's doing this at this moment. I'm exhausted like her. I need a drink.
Yeah. It's not fun times for her right now, and she's once again carrying a bag of trash through the store after close. She's the only one there, and she's like, "F this window design. I'm gonna make this better." And next thing she knows, she is asleep in the window.
Oh.
With a beautiful display around her.
It looks so good, though. Like, I don't know how she wasn't standing out there just ready to present, like, a good school project. She was...
I know.
It came out so nice. We're going to notice a lot of newspaper being used throughout this movie, too.
Lots of trash.
Lots of trash. It's a very trashy movie, in a good way.
Yeah, in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But, basically, her boss is just like, no,
Yeah, this is done. You need to go.
Yeah, you need to go. But who shows up? Who shows up, Spencer?
The Baroness shows up. And when I tell you I was shook the first time you see Emma Thompson. The Baroness is wearing this huge golden shawl collar coat. These
she looks
glasses
so good.
with this gold trim. Everything about it's right. She loves like a big shawl collar, you'll notice.
She does. And she also likes those like cool like beehive type.
Ooh.
It's not like they're not actual beehives, but it gives that same like effect. And it's like only Emma Thompson could pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, she looks snatched every time you see her. It's just every time you see Emma Thompson, I'm instantly like, oh, that's a kind of the story of this movie. When you see Estella versus Emma Thompson, you're like, oh, she looks amazing. Oh no, actually, she looks amazing. Oh wait, no, actually, she looks amazing. And that's like the story of this movie.
Yeah. So she walks in, and immediately the manager's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I know the display's awful. It's terrible. And she just wants to know, like, who did the design? And he's like, she's fired. She's over there, but she's fired. Like, don't worry about it. We're going to fix the situation. And Emma Thompson's like, you fired her? He's like, yes, absolutely. Of course. You fired her. It's all good. And she's like, okay. Assistant, give her my card. She's hired. She loves the display.
I love this. If only that's how real life worked.
I know. She's just like, oh, you're an... I love how she tells him he's an idiot, and he's just like, oh, yes, of course, I am.
You're definitely an idiot. Estella gets out of there. She goes back home with her chosen family, and she's getting ready for her first day. But, of course, before we do that, Horace is trying out some of the garments that he stole from the store. He's trying on, like, this cheetah print
hilarious. I love that.
He chose a good one.
Yeah. He did choose a good one.
Well, I think before she starts her first day at the house of the Baroness, I think you and I should take a break.
I think we should.
When we come back,
water.
We need water. And I need to go throw some pennies in a fountain outside my house. So when we come back,
sounds nice.
We're going to work.
Yeah.
Well, we're back. Back. Elizabeth, are you ready to go to work?
I am ready to go to work at an ungodly hour, just like every creative person in the world.
Yes, 5 a.m. He said, don't be late. Oh, okay. So today is Estella's first day at the House of Baroness. And just walking into this building, it's already giving me everything I need. Even the mannequins are serving some real looks just walking into the building. They
really are. And, like, you can immediately tell she dressed up for her first day.
Oh, yeah.
All black, little beret. And she just fits right in. You're like, ooh, you're where you belong now.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting so much Dior just kind of from this building. It feels very Dior to me.
Absolutely.
One thing I did love about the House of Baroness was that everyone was wearing white gowns, white, almost like lab coats, which is really typical of a modern-day couture house. Yeah,
and I think it was even more common back then, that all the seamstresses and other craftspeople would wear the lab coats.
Yeah, it's actually one of the requirements, I believe. I don't know if it still is. But to label yourself a couture house, one of the specifications is that in your atelier, you must have an atelier in Paris and employ at least 20 trained seamstresses. And it was common, almost required, to be sporting work coats or these kind of lab coats because they considered sewing and creating garments to be a science, which is why they wore those coats.
It absolutely is.
Which you and I know both very well.
Yeah, we do. I mean, like, the math that goes into patterning and sewing, it's a science, yeah.
It's not easy being a designer, so shout out to all the designers, costume designers, seamstresses, pattern makers. You name it.
You're doing the Lord's work.
You are. And we love you here at the podcast. So Estella makes it into the house of Baroness, and it's instantly, to me, overwhelming. I know what it's like to be, you know, that feeling that's your first day at a job, but this place takes it to a different level.
Yeah. Nobody's saying hi to her. It's just like, oh, you're here, go work.
I'm starting to think that you're not allowed to say hi here.
I know. Oh my gosh. And then, like, when the Baroness walks in looking fabulous and everybody freaks out.
Oh, yeah. She walks in wearing this dark green suit with a large bow and this head wrap. And she looks stunning, of course. She
does.
Emma Thompson kills this role.
She really does. And I mean, I feel like I'm more used to seeing her as, like... She's usually one of the good guys. But man, can she play a villain.
Oh, yeah. She's good at it. She's bad at it in a good kind of way.
Yeah.
So this next scene, I was excited to talk to you about. Well, same scene. I was excited to talk to you about this because it gave me serious flashbacks of being back.
Oh my gosh.
At FITM, where we had to create something and line it up on a dress form and wait for critique. It wasn't as dramatic as this.
No.
You know, Emma Thompson didn't walk by us and try to cut us with a knife.
No. The FITM instructors were much kinder in their constructive criticism.
Very much kinder. I was never cut. But it did kind of take me back. I know what it's like to sit there and just have your garment critiqued in front of an entire room of people.
I know. I did have a pattern teacher who this scene gave me the most vibes back to her pattern class, because it was pattern 2, and I had a very, like, chill teacher the class before that. Like, the semester before that, he'd been very chill, and he was kind of like, I don't really play by the rules, because he was lovely and British. And then we go into her class, and she's just, like, this very hard, like, Eastern European woman who was like, what did you all, like, because apparently none of us were, like, up to par.
Oh, gosh.
Not a single one of us. Because a lot of those people had been in my previous class. She was, like, so confused and, like, was really just like, what are you all doing? And then quickly realized we just needed, like, refreshers and was very kind, but that was, like... That was the closest I've ever had to, like...
Being cut by Emma Thompson.
And
the thing she says as she walks by people's garments, she literally calls one person's foolish. She tells someone that their dress is unhinged.
Unhinged, and straight up fires them.
You're fired. What?
And he just, like, drops his head.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I am fired. I'm stupid. But Estella creates this really nice green dress with this shoulder kind of fluence of the fabric. Of course, Emma comes up and just cuts it right off, which I was kind of confused by. I liked it with the shoulder.
Yeah, but she's so distracted, too, because so she cuts it off, and in the process, like, gives Emma Stone a little cutty cut, and, like, holds her hand and is like, we need this color. It's the color of her blood. It's like, oh my gosh.
Like, tone it down there. It's her day one.
Like, calm down. I almost expected, like, one of the dyers to come up and, like, take a little sample.
They probably did. They just probably didn't show us. What a crazy first day. Estella leaves. It's been a long day. And she ends up going to visit a wonderful little vintage shop in London and meets
This was so
Artie.
cute. I loved Artie.
Artie was wonderful.
Artie was so great. He's very punk. Like, very punk.
He gives me very, like, 1970s Ziggy Stardust vibes, David Bowie.
Absolutely.
He has to be, like, the main inspiration for this character.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got, like, a red vest, cheetah print. His eye makeup's, like, a little, like, one eye is, like, very, like, you know, he has, like, very thick eyeliner, and the other one, it's the same very thick eyeliner, but, like, with some little, like, flares around it, and I'm like, ooh, Artie, you are a work of art.
I would totally shop here, too. This place looks sick.
I know.
And Estella's wearing this kind of dark green jacket, and it has, like, this punk graffiti on the sleeves. It's kind of faint, but you could kind of get a good look at it. Mm-hmm. And it's, once again, another brilliant jacket on Estella. So that was fun meeting Artie, but it's time to go back to work. Maybe this is her break, I don't know. And so we cut to the scene, and the Baroness walks in this shoulder cape dress with another headdress. This look is amazing, but you don't even have time to focus on it because the Baroness instantly is like, "You there, I need you to pick up my lunch," and shouts the most complicated order. All I heard from it is 7 leaves of parsley. That's
shredded.
All I heard. Shredded. See, I already screwed it up. I'm fired.
You would have been fired. I would have. We both would have been fired.
Estella had it all down, but I would have just went home. I would have broke down in tears and left.
Oh my gosh. I was like... She doesn't even write it down. She just gets up and is like, okay. I'm like, I would be like, where do I go? Is there... This is a huge place. Is there a kitchen? Is there, like, a little store around the corner that you like?
7 leaves. Was she literally in this meal? Which I don't even know what the meal is because I didn't hear everything.
It's like some sort of salad.
Was Estella in said salad? Alleged salad, counting the parsley leaves?
Probably. She probably stood there and watched the person cut it. And, like, she had specific requirements for how thin her cucumbers were to be. Yes. It was insane.
She was shouting all sorts of math instructions, and I was exhausted.
I was like, oh my gosh. I would have walked out of the building and never come back.
Yeah, I gotta go. So, the Baroness has a meeting with,
it's her lawyer. Oh, no,
First,
you're right.
there's these 2 other guys. I'm not even sure what they do.
Oh, it's these 2 department store guys. They run department stores, and they're trying to tell her that, like, she's washed up, and, like, they're either not going to carry her stuff anymore, or they're going to carry less of her stuff. I was kind of confused on, like, what exactly they were kind of, like, threatening her with. But she's like, oh, no. Like, basically, like, your stores are trash, and, like, nobody's coming into them. So that's why my stuff isn't selling, because you're not doing your job to make your stores look good and get people in them. So she was like, don't try and blame this on me. I did my research of why I'm not doing well, and it's your fault.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of put a nice spin on it. She said all that, but then she's also like, and you're short, you're stupid, you're ugly, get out of... Like, she's...
she straight up insults them.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe in a Disney movie I was hearing this right now.
I know.
Oh my gosh, who wrote this script? It's evil.
Dang, like, I was like, oh, that's hurtful. Okay.
And then we're saved because Estella walks in with the mysterious meal with the 7 leaves of parsley, shredded leaves.
Yes.
And the Baroness says, oh, finally, someone around here that's competent.
Yeah.
But someone crashes in the room, and it's her lawyer, Roger. And I labeled this scene Nandor the Incompetent. Because, Elizabeth, do you know who plays Roger?
Nandor, apparently, according to you. I was...
Yes, it's Kaven Novak who plays Nandor and What We Do in the Shadows.
I was like, guys, you should have seen how shook I was like 3 minutes ago when I saw his comments and was like, oh, that character's name is Nandor, and I'm thinking, oh, that's strange. And he's like, no, Elizabeth, no, it's not.
Yeah, we had a whole moment before we got back to recording, and I was just like, I don't know how you couldn't recognize him, but I guess he wasn't wearing his vampire gown and long hair and things.
Yeah, he looks very different. Like he's not putting on the accent. Like,
but it was a good scene.
It was a great scene.
So
I'm not exactly sure why he was there, but it's a great scene.
I'm not too sure what the part Roger plays in this story. Like, they don't do anything legal related.
No.
Except for a will at some point, but I'm not even sure if Roger has anything to do with that.
Because they gloss over it real quick.
They gloss over it. Of course, we do a callback to Roger at the end of this film, but I think we'll talk about that later. But
I'm just, this is why I like DVDs, because then you get all those good, deleted scenes, and I'm like, how many? Because, they must have paid him, a pretty penny.
Oh, for sure.
How many deleted scenes of him are there?
I bet you there's a ton, because that's one character I wish we explored a little bit more. So Estella and the Baroness go on a car ride, and they end up at the Baroness's home, and Estella's been doing sketches for the Baroness this entire time. Things have progressed quickly in Estella's career. So the Baroness is getting dressed in her room. Estella's still sketching. The Baroness is yelling commands at her while she's getting dressed. Yeah. She can't stop. And Estella's just sitting there sketching away.
Yeah. The Baroness is having her power nap, and then they are off.
They're off. They get in a car. And now she's eating the salad, so the salad's probably wilted a little bit. Yeah. So she went through all this work, and it's not even a fresh salad anymore.
That was the greatest tragedy of this film.
This is a tragedy. Estella's sketching, and the Baroness loves to sketch. She's actually kind of like, oh, this girl's actually talented.
She's putting her input in, but also accepting Estella's vision.
Which is a good sign if you're Estella.
Yeah.
We get to the Baroness's mansion, and the Baroness needs to start changing into another outfit, but she doesn't give anyone a break. She's still yelling commands over to Estella while she's getting dressed, telling her to make her dress fit like this, and Estella's just sketching away.
Always sketching. Always sketching.
Always sketching. The Baroness is wearing this really brilliant gold dress. Her colors are definitely gold and browns, dark greens.
Yeah. They definitely are. They are brown and gold. Jenny Beavan wanted it to very much stand out from what would be, Cruella's black and white. And it's also she's a lady of matured years, so a little bit of brown and gold goes well with her.
It looks good on her. She's always giving me, she feels very Dior inspired, like yes. I said about the couture house earlier, but she's giving me a lot of Dior vibes. Very chic, very put together. And as they're talking, Estella looks up and she's like, oh, that's weird. My mother's family heirloom is around this woman's neck.
Yeah.
That's a weird coincidence.
Yeah, she's like, oh, excuse me, how did you come about that? And Emma Thompson is like, oh, it's a family heirloom. This maid of mine tried to steal it, but then she came back, and I retrieved it. And I just love her response. She's like, no, she didn't steal it. And she's like, then she immediately is like, oh, wait, wrong delivery. And says that out loud and just changes.
Oh, no, she didn't.
Oh, no, she didn't. But she knows the truth. She knows the truth.
Yeah, this whole thing was put together very quickly in Estella's head. She knows how the whole night went right away. So, before we leave this scene, I want to talk about Estella's outfit real quick, though. She's wearing this all-black outfit with these, cross-body straps. Maybe it's a lapel going across her chest again. And it looks so good.
And it does look so good.
Estella runs home to go see Jasper and Horace, and she's like, oh, remember that lady I work for now? She killed me, Mum.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah.
And instantly, Horace is like, well, there's the angle. And they get right to work.
They do. She's like, she wants to be at that house now because she knows where they keep the jewels.
Oh, yeah. She doesn't hesitate for a second. So the next day at work, or a couple days later at work, The Baroness is laying down in this white gown, using the cucumbers from her very complicated salad.
I'm like, oh, okay, you do this every day? Great.
To take a 9-minute power nap, I believe is the time she set. Which, can you take a power nap in 9 minutes, Elizabeth?
I can barely take a power nap in an hour.
Yeah, and a 9-minute nap, I would feel like hell right after that. If I fall asleep during the day, I never feel great.
Naps don't agree with me.
No.
So I don't know how she's doing this every day.
Estella's wearing this great outfit with this gold metallic tie.
Okay, this gold metallic tie gave me flashbacks to the job I worked in college.
Oh no, what did you do?
I sold almost... Well, actually, I don't think I ever sold it. I think it was still there. So I had a very strange job in college. I really liked it, but it was very odd. We were like kind of a secondhand store, but not really. But one of the things that just hung around forever was a tie that looked exactly like that.
Oh my gosh, this is the tie.
This is the tie, but instead of like it being like a plate and then a bead, a plate and then a bead, it was just like plate after plate after plate. And I'm like, someone bought that, took it, and they just replaced every other plate with beads. I was just like...
And now it's on Emma Stone's neck.
Yeah. Would not be shocked if it was the same necklace, but also really hope it's not.
Estella's scoping out the house, trying to figure out where this family heirloom is.
She's trying to, like, figure out the security system, like, who's where. Like, she's getting intel on the Baroness. And there's this great montage in here of how the Baroness takes out people from her parties that she doesn't like.
I love this scene.
It's like, if they're not dressed right, if they're too pretty, if they're too old, a guard just tackles them.
Yeah, it's not like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. It's full-on football tackle.
It's football tackle, and I'm just like, how does this not create more of a scene? Like,
it's so funny.
How do you, like, not have people, like, saying declining invitations?
All of this is in preparation for the infamous black and white party, which I think this is one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie.
My gosh. It is so good. And they're like, okay, this is where we're going to make our move. Horace is going to pose as, like, an exterminator to get into the room.
We have to talk about the best costume of the entire movie.
Yes, we'll get there. Jasper, he's going to be, like, the techie. He's basically, like, their tech guy. And Cruella's going to be the distraction. So they're like, okay, this is a heist movie now. And it is great. And so this scene actually has what Jenny Beavan considers to be her favorite costume. And I mean, I gotta say, like, this is an extraordinary piece. It is well deserved to be her favorite costume. It is Wink's rat outfit.
I love that costume so much.
It is so cute. He's like the rat Horace is supposed to be exterminating. It's so cute.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. In an interview with Vanity Fair, she was asked, like, you know, which of the looks she felt that she liked the most and, like, encapsulated her vibe. And she said, I quote from the Vanity Fair article, "I'm very fond of Wink's rat costume."
I am also very fond of that costume.
He looks so cute.
He
steals the scene.
He really does.
Until Emma Stone steals the scene.
Yeah, but Wink deserves his moment. I mean, I want a dog just so I could dress him up as a rat now.
Fair.
Very fair.
You have a dog in the other room. You can make this happen.
It's not my dog.
Oh, that's fair.
But as you were saying, Emma Stone does kind of steal the scene, though.
Yes. She waits to come in till the last moment. She's wearing billowing white cape, basically. And everyone turns to her. Because they're like, oh, who is this? She looks at them all. she drops a match. She lights and drops a match onto herself. And I was like, oh my gosh, where is this about to go? This is a Disney movie. That white cape burns up to reveal her beautiful red gown, which we have to go back a little bit, because one of the reasons she originally stopped in Artie's store was because part of this beautiful red gown was in the window as a Baroness original. So she was I'm going to take this, and she reworks it into something she feels looks much better. And the dress is actually inspired by a Charles James tree dress. I have it linked in my notes if you want to take a look at it. From 1955. It's beautiful. It has that same kind of very fitted bodice that goes into almost like a mermaid skirt at the bottom. It's beautiful. It has like that twisted look, and it was named after one of his clients. So that was the inspiration for this one.
It's a stunning, sickening gown.
Yeah,
I love it.
And it's just like, ooh, like she lights her cape on fire, but then like she is the fire. She's there to burn down.
Estella is fire. Well, I guess she's kind of, in this moment, Cruella.
She is Cruella in this moment. She's gone back to her original, like, black and white hair. She has the mask on, so nobody can tell it's her. Which I'm just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, the hair really, I guess, puts you off. But I'm like, is it really, is she really that unnoticeable?
Speaking of mask, the Baroness is also wearing a sickening outfit. She's wearing this really great black and white gown with a matching kind of, like you said, it's not a beehive, but this really nice updo and this twisted black and white mask. This whole thing is just top to bottom perfect. Yeah,
and that dress was created by Beavan, and it was her assistant designer, Ian Wallace, that created Estella's dress for that scene.
Oh, well, congratulations, Ian Wallace, because that's, I think, top 3 one of my favorite costumes from this film.
Yeah, I found that in an article from RTE. It didn't say, like, how... It seems like their collaboration was pretty close. Mm-hmm. But I was like, ooh, look at you. I'm like, what else are you doing?
There's one character I do want to mention who's at the party, which is none other than Anita Darling, who has a small role, but every time you see her, she really just kind of captures the camera.
I know.
She's beautiful.
She, like, popped up, like, right before Estella walks in, and it's like the Baroness clearly knows her. She's, like, I guess the main PR person for the Baroness, just through a series of unfortunate career choices on Anita's part. But, like, she's in dress code, but she has a tiny little, like, blue spot on her bag.
Right.
And the Baroness, like, is like, oh, can't have this. And she's like, but I need that for my work. And she's like, that's no excuse. And I was like, ooh. Baroness.
So this party's extravagant. It looks amazing, but things quickly go haywire when Horace gets captured.
Yes.
But Wink does get away. So we have this rat situation.
Yeah. So, Estella's creating a distraction and basically beating up her security team while Horace is breaking into the jewel vault with Jasper's assistance, and things are just not going well because Jasper is constantly being besieged by rats. So when Horace gets captured, he takes those rats because he's dressed as a waiter. He takes the rats upstairs in a little, covered plate, puts it in front of the Baroness, and Estella opens it up to reveal the rats and create utter chaos in which they escape.
Chaos. I mean, this isn't even Estella's first time creating chaos at the House of Baroness.
No.
Or at the mansion of the
She
Baroness.
beat up that entire security squad.
Yeah, she did with the cane. I was like, wow, is she really that strong? You guys can't grab her?
Right?
But things go quickly a mess. And in the chaos, Buddy, Estella's dog, grabs the heirloom. Mm-hmm. But then the Baroness grabs her dog whistle, and she then summons the rage of these evil-looking Dalmatians. And it's in that moment, these poor Dalmatians, but it's in this moment that Cruella realizes that the Baroness is responsible for killing Estella's mom.
Yes. She is horrified.
As was I. I was like, these are some scary-looking dogs.
But, in that same chaos, the dogs end up eating the heirloom necklace.
Oh, I know. I was like, no.
So Estella's like, I guess we gotta kidnap the dogs now. And she's like, okay, we gotta create a plan. But then, the Baroness is pissed, so they end up getting in a car chase. It's a car chase, except they're not really being chased. Yeah.
But as Cruella's driving, like, the entire world's after her. So she's just speeding through the streets of London in a car that's very similar to the car we know from the cartoons, the Cruella de Vil car.
Yes.
And Cruella just hops out of there, turns around to Jasper and Horace, and it's like, she killed my mom. And things are about to get real dark.
Real dark.
I think before things get too dark, maybe you and I should take a break.
I know. I need a little bit of dinner. I'm hungry.
Okay, so Elizabeth's going to go get her dinner, and then we'll get back to work. Back from break, and Elizabeth, it's the morning after the black and white party.
It is, and she is like, she's Cruella now. She's out for revenge.
Estella is no longer in the chat. It's full Cruella right now.
Yeah. She's just like, this is here to stay, and we gotta steal those dogs. Horace is in. Jasper has reservation, but he's supporting his girl.
Jasper definitely has reservations, but, Cruella's kind of a persuasive person, so he's going to go for it. Cruella's wearing this all-black vinyl outfit, and she's doing a contrasting red lipstick, kind of giving me Edward Scissorhands vibes at this moment.
Yes, she's like, this is where she's clearly first, like, a little unhinged, like definitely Edward Scissorhand vibes, but like with that red lip, I kind of get Joker vibes, especially when she goes to give a little visit to Anita, and she is just a little like not in a great space.
No, she really stands out when she visits Anita, darling. And she's basically like, hey, I know you're tired of covering the Baroness. I think it's time I give you some stuff for you to actually cover. I said that in a nicer way, but...
Yeah. And she's like, I'll give you some better stuff to cover, and, like, we're gonna have fun doing it.
Oh, yeah. And this takes us into a weird couple of scenes. First, we start with the Dalmatians having a really quite lovely spa day.
Oh, yeah. It's like, those dogs, no wonder they kill on command. They are pampered.
They are pampered. They're having, like, their whole spa day. They have little bubbles on their head.
They look really
a nice
cute.
Little tub.
They like, I was like, oh, hello. You want to
really
play?
I'm jealous. And with the help of Wink, our favorite dog, Horace ends up kidnapping the dogs along with Jasper.
Jasper.
I don't know why I can't remember Jasper's name.
I keep thinking, like, Khaleesi's almost man.
Horace does bring up the fact that he feels like, you've heard that saying that owners sometimes look like their dogs. Do you feel like that's to be true?
Yes and no. Like, I would say that's more true for fancy dogs. Like, I feel like the more money you've put into obtaining your animal, the more likely they are to look like you.
That's a fair statement.
I don't know. I have lots of thoughts and feelings about purchasing animals.
Adopt, don't buy.
Adopt. Support your local ASPCA. Preferably support your local no-kill shelter.
Exactly. Cruella takes his time to go visit Artie one last time. Artie doesn't realize that Estella and Cruella are the same person because he's like, oh, wow, it's you. And Cruella's like, it's Estella.
Okay, I just need to take a second to talk about Artie's makeup. I love Artie. He is great. However, there are 2 or 3 times in this film where he only has eye makeup on one eye. It is the most distracting thing ever.
That's the look, though.
I'm just like, where's his other eye? Like, it just, because they're both wearing, like, very pale foundation, very punk, which is fine, but I'm like, he has one eye, where's the other one? Like, it distracted me so badly.
It's very kind of inspired by Ziggy Stardust from the 1970s. David Bowie would sometimes only wear, the eye makeup on one side of his face. That is definitely what they're going for.
I mean, I'm sure. However, my
Elizabeth
my
did not grow up.
perfectionist tendencies. This is like my poor sculpture teacher in high school. She was constantly making me do things asymmetrically because I just wanted everything to be
So
balanced.
It's fair to say that Elizabeth did not grow up in the 1970s punk revolution with Vivienne Westwood and David Bowie.
No.
And the Sex Pistols.
I didn't. It was very distracting to me.
Well, I think Artie looks great in this snakeskin top and this scarf.
Yes.
This costume is brilliant.
His outfit's on point. You walk into his store and it's like, oh yes, of course he's the owner. Like, there's never any question about what he does and how he does it.
This brings us back to the Baroness, and she's kind of really pissed. She's like, everyone's been laughing at me over this Cruella thing. Little does the Baroness know that Cruella is about to really take things up in temperature.
Yeah. She's annoyed, but it's like, oh, honey, this is only the beginning.
So we end up at this red carpet. The Baroness is in this giant white gown with this Liberace-type collar. It's huge behind her. And she's really stealing the show. But then she hears a motorcycle in the distance. The Baroness is stealing the show at a red carpet. She's wearing this white gown with this huge Liberace-type moment behind her.
Oh my gosh. This was really talk about Dior inspired, and it was also very hold on, let me look at his name real quick. This is probably perfect. Charles Frederick Worth.
Oh yeah.
That there was something I was like, yeah, it's very Dior, but there was something else to it. Very Charles Frederick Worth, with that, just the opulence of it, the sleeve.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. It's very that.
It's that mixed with Dior. It's beautiful.
Very beautiful.
I'm like, can I have that?
We're thinking at this moment, how can the Baroness be upstaged? But Cruella has something in mind.
Ooh.
She shows up in a motorcycle, which, something that I feel like we're going to be talking about on the show, is how motorcycles make people look more attractive.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Cruella gets off of this motorcycle.
She's hot.
She's looking hot, smoky. She has this makeup look that says the future.
Yeah. And
she is the future.
She is like, I'm just here to make a statement and leave. She gets out of there in her, that motorcycle jacket, all the embossing on it, the big shoulders. I was like, Yes, girl. The pants with, like, the gold sequins and the black stripes. I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
that jacket is it.
It is it. I'm like, can I please have this? Her sparkly red lips, like, you know me, I love a good red lip, so I loved how much they leaned into that.
You do like a good red lip. And she steals the scene. And she, like you said, she just leaves. She steals the scene, leaves, has this huge, like, visual effects moment on the side of the building where they're meeting.
That's right.
So we cut to another scene, and the Baroness is getting ready to get out of her car for this paparazzi moment. And Jasper and Horace walk up to the car and throw, like, a large seatbelt around the car and lock the Baroness inside.
I'm just like, I feel like that's what they, like, put on, like, new cars when they're transporting them without, like, somebody being in there driving them.
Yeah.
I was like,
I need to get one of those.
No, you don't. Your car has enough problems.
Oh my gosh. My car is fine.
Is it fine now? Is it fine now, Spencer?
It's going to be fine.
That's what I thought.
And Cruella gets on top of this car, and this is my favorite costume of the entire film.
Oh my gosh. Yes, okay. You describe it. I have notes.
She's standing on top of it in this black leather jacket. She has a lot of embellishments on the shoulder. And this large, just concaving red and black tulle gown that just covers the car. She snaps open this scroll that says the past, and it lays right next to the Baroness inside the car.
Like, she looks so good, so strong in that, like, military jacket with all the... It reminded me very much of her... It's like a callback to her school uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is the establishment, but I am more than the establishment. I know how to make them better.
I love this costume.
It's so beautiful. So this was apparently, like, the hardest one to make. She brought in Australian pattern maker Christine Fletcher as the chief pattern cutter, and she is actually notable for her wearable art. Jenny said they just had, like, tons of students and interns cutting out those petals, putting it together. In an interview, Artie quotes her as, "I felt half sick and rather proud whenever I looked at it." Like, just, she was like, so much work went into this that it was just, like, apparently just, like, exhausting to look at. But also, like, that is a feat, because she said it was really hard because they had to make it light enough for her to be able to do that. So it was just, that's a feat of engineering right there.
Literally, like you said, it's wearable art. It is art.
It is art. It's gorgeous. Like,
I was speechless when I saw it. I just thought this whole thing was just brilliant.
It was.
It doesn't look light to me. I mean, I'm sure it's light enough for her to get up on top of the car, but that looks like it weighs a good 2,000 pounds.
It looks like it, but apparently not. Apparently it was... I mean, Emma Stone made it up on top of the car, so...
She made it up.
Right. And it's like the way... Oh gosh, it's brilliant just the way it lays over. She said she wanted it to look like opera curtains with Emma Thompson, the Baroness, just peeking out. It's like, no, the curtain's closed on you. You don't need to peek out.
Back at the House of Baroness, the Baroness is pissed. She just said she's annoyed that she feels like everyone's laughing at her, and now Cruella has pulled out all these fashionable stunts. She's acting now. She's ripping out newspapers from people's hands that are looking at pictures of Cruella. She's pissed. But
she's so mad. But while she's being all mad about this, Estella keeps going to work.
Right?
Like, that was the best part to me. It wasn't like she just, like, up and disappeared. She's like, no, I gotta play the long con.
Yeah, she's back at work wearing her little red wig, just working away, being a little busy bee.
Yeah.
So now we're zooming in on this moment where the Baroness is wearing this crazy black and white outfit, and she's wearing this black wig I have to admit, I like the costume, but the black wig was really unsettling for me.
It was a choice. It was a choice.
It was a choice. I'm not saying it was a bad choice, but I just was not ready for this black wig.
I don't think any of us were.
But a dump truck pulls out, and who pops out of the dump truck?
Cruella!
I love this look. She made a large train on this dress made out of...
Trash. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, how do you not realize this is Estella? Like...
Right? Very trashy.
Very trashy, like... But beautiful. And, it reminded me of, like... A lot of what you see, like, people do now, especially, like, I guess college student, when we were in college, a lot of people using paper and just, like, things they find to make these beautiful avant-garde pieces. And Jenny Beavan, she was really, in one of the interviews, she says she loves that, like, you know, this is something people started doing, and even though it is a period piece, she wanted to bring, like, that spirit of people, like, DIYing and reusing things into the film.
I love that. The idea of using sustainability, which is something that I think a lot more designers should be thinking about.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
You could make something out of anything, and no one knows that better than Cruella.
Oh, yes. She had to work with nothing for years.
So, the Baroness is in the car with our good friend Roger. The Baroness is wearing this incredible houndstooth pattern. It looks good. I love it. And she fires Roger. And honestly, I'm not really positive why.
I know. Poor Roger. Like... And she, like, disses on him for playing the piano a lot. And is like, oh, but he's a great lawyer. But we never get to see him be a great lawyer.
Yeah, right? I'm like, how would I know?
I don't remember why she fires him.
I honestly don't. It was just kind of like, you're fired.
Like, him and those two, like, department store executives we see when, like, he's first introduced. Like, I'm like, what was the point of these people?
Yeah, we need to dive deeper into those characters a little bit more.
But she's getting ready for her newest fashion show.
She needs a statement piece, a signature piece that's going to be on that runway.
Yes.
And challenges all of her designers to come up with a piece. And I think it's safe to say that Estella came out with a pretty groundbreaking gown.
Oh, yes. It is beautiful. It is covered in beads. It reminds me a lot of, like, those, like, armory-looking dresses.
Oh, yeah.
People were, like, super into a couple years ago. It is beautiful.
It kind of gave me, like, a McQueen vibe.
Yes.
Very, like, crystal jeweled. And also remind me of this one look that Bjork did back in the day where she wore this dress like out of bells.
Yes, it is beautiful. But I wonder if you caught this. So she has special beading delivered. And Horace is the delivery man. And the Baroness looks at him like, I know you. And I think that's like her first hint that like Estella's not on the up and up.
Oh, I was fairly confident at this moment that she knew exactly Estella was Cruella.
I don't think she knew quite yet. I think it took her a little bit.
That could be, but I think she recognized Horace from the Black and White Party. Like, yeah. That's the guy that was chasing the dog dressed up as a rat. Absolutely.
But,
something is up.
She knows something's up, but right now Estella's her best designer, so they're going to lunch.
Yeah, I mean, even that dress before it was jeweled still looked amazing.
Oh,
I loved
yes.
It didn't even need jewels, in my opinion, but once those were on there, obviously it was amazing. Ooh. And the Baroness takes Estella to lunch to celebrate herself. She's not celebrating Estella.
No, not Estella's good work. It's her good work.
Yeah, exactly. Which, this is something we're going to talk about at the end of this episode. The idea of taking credit for other people's work has been a theme a lot with costume designers, and we're going to get into that.
And it also highlights something that's common practice in the fashion industry, is these brands, they usually do have, like, you know, a head designer, or like these fashion houses, they have a head designer. That person is not sketching out and designing every single piece. They have a team of designers, and they are approving looks. Like,
exactly.
They're more of a creative director than an actual designer.
Totally. You're 100% right. I have a lot of feelings on this. We'll probably talk about this a little later in today's podcast.
We'll probably talk about it a lot, because we have quite a few friends in the fashion industry.
Oh, yeah. And I could tell you stories and stories of costume designers being ripped off for their work. But I can't leave the scene without talking about the moment where the Baroness just pops this cork off in the guy's face.
I've gotta say, like, that for being in the service industry, that is like, I felt that.
Oh, you felt the cork in the face.
I felt the cork in the face. I felt that. I felt that just utter disrespect.
So, a couple days later, the Baroness learns to find that someone tried to break in to the house of Baroness, and her precious collection is locked inside a very sturdy-looking safe.
Yeah. She's like, we can't have people get into this. They clearly were trying to destroy the collection. And she puts them in the vault.
Ooh, this poses to be a problem later on.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up one costume. We see Estella sketching in this kind of inverted black and white vest, and she looks amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
once
she looks great through the whole thing, but when she's Cruella, like it's all out there.
I know. I sound repetitive with every look. This is amazing. That's brilliant. But literally, Jenny Beavan, costume designer, every look in this film is amazing. Is it brilliant?
So good. So good. But, she's working away. And also by this point, she has recruited Artie.
Yeah.
To help her create her own fashion show.
She has her own, like, couture house in this disheveled building that they've been living in. Like,
they are putting it together, and it is the first big fuck you to the Baroness, because the time of her fashion show comes, and they can't get out of the vault.
The vault is still locked, and they're struggling really hard to open up the vault. And when they do, something terrible happens that I almost don't even want to watch. This made me very uncomfortable. I don't know if it was butterflies or moths, but they all come flying out of the vault, terrifying the guests of her show. They spill out onto the street. The Baroness sees that it was Estella's gown. That wasn't beading. Those were cocoons. Ugh, gross. But
like her show is destroyed.
I hate bugs.
But on top of that, we start to see lights. We hear music. Cruella de Vil has set up her punk fashion show right across from the house of Baroness.
Ooh, I mean, as soon as I saw the lights, I was like, I want to be there. The green and red kind of lighting they did in this show was so attractive.
Oh my gosh, it was so great. The models are like, they're dancing, making everything look good. Jasper's like, he's conflicted by the situation, but man, is he playing the guitar.
Oh, like, he's killing it. He's shredding.
He's killing it. Artie's killing it, because I think Artie's singing, right?
I actually don't know.
I think he's singing.
We see Cruella in this black and white gown with a Dalmatian print.
With a Dalmatian print! Oh my gosh, I love this, because I didn't think they were going to break out the Dalmatian jacket yet. I was like, oh, they're going to save that. Because before I watched it, I heard it had already been approved for a sequel. I was like, oh, they're gonna save that for the next one. Because, like, you don't see it in, like, any of the promotions. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, like, they're gonna wait. But no, it looks like straight up Dalmatian fur. The rest of it is this, like, I don't think it was leather, but it was just this, like, gorgeous black fabric. It has this, like, shawl-type collar going over her shoulders. She's working it. I'm not a fan of her hair, but, you know, it's great. I also love these little gloves she keeps wearing with, like, the frill.
Oh, it's yeah, so I love the little half gloves with the little see-through frill. Yeah, it's so good. And the Baroness sees this and is immediately like, she murdered my dogs! My dogs are full-on dead right now, and she's wearing them. That's so terrible. That's what she thinks. Little does she know, they're just waiting for those dogs to crap out the necklace. And the show, unfortunately, gets broken up by the police. Yeah, I mean, things are getting unruly here. But this is a great fashion show. And then I love when she's running away and she just pops into, like, to get food. She's just like, oh, I'll get a little snack before I go home. She grabs a little snack. At the same time, our friends Jasper and Horace and the dogs are being captured. Yeah. And Cruella gets back to the home, and guess who's waiting there for her? The Baroness. Baroness, with her boys. With them boys. With the boys. She's like, I am going to frame these two for your murder. I am going to burn you alive. Wow, things escalated quickly. And I was like, oh my gosh, like... Did not expect this. I thought this was the end of the movie. I was like, hold on. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's still like an hour left. I know, terrible. But yeah, I was pretty shook by this. I was not expecting things to escalate so quickly. Mm-mm. So the fire is real. It burns everything down. Yeah. She's stuck. Buddy's trying to get her, and Wink's trying to get her out, but they just can't do it. I just have to say, even when the entire building is burning down and Estella's, like, she's struggling on the ground, she still looks good. Oh yeah. Even in a burning building, Estella / Cruella looks amazing. She looks amazing. Through the fog of smoke and her slowly dying of smoke inhalation, she sees a figure coming for her. Yes. And with that, I think we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to finish up Cruella. Oh, yeah. It's down to the juicy part. We're getting to the end, everyone. Stay with us. So we are back, and so is Cruella. She was saved. So it turns out John the valet, who we haven't talked about most of this episode, but he's always there in the background. He's like the Baroness's little henchman, like making sure her will gets done. He's the Forrest Gump of this movie. He's just always there. He's always there. You think he's evil. Turns out he's the only person in the world, aside from Jasper and Horace, who cares about Cruella. We should have known. He has such a kind face. It was so true. It's like, how can Merlin from the Kingsman be a bad guy? Oh, not this again. Like, this must be Merlin's side job. So, John the valet has a heart-to-heart with Cruella. And it's like, oh, by the way, here's your heirloom. Yeah. It's from your mother. And turns out things are a little bit different than we had suspected. Yeah. He shows her birth certificate, and she's like, this isn't right. And he's like, oh, yes. Well, you see, the Baroness is your mother. Ugh. It's like a Luke Skywalker moment, except Darth Vader's like an evil fashion designer.
Exactly. And she's like, no. And he's like, ugh.
Ew.
Yeah.
Awkward.
She's a selfish, narcissistic person, and while your father was really excited to have a kid, her, not so much. But
Not quite.
Her father doted on the Baroness, gave her that heirloom as like a thanks for getting preggers little gift. And so kind. So the Baroness basks in his affection until when he goes out of town, she gives birth, hands the baby off to John the valet, and is like, take care of this, aka murder my child.
Ugh.
He's not okay with this. He also does not know what to do until he sees the woman who would be Cruella's mother and calls her the sweetest woman who ever lived. She takes Cruella, smuggles her out, and decides to raise her as her own child.
Ugh. Can you imagine learning all of that in that moment? I mean...
she has an appropriate reaction.
Yeah. It's kind of like... I have to say, she handled it better than Luke Skywalker did in the Star Wars.
Yeah.
She didn't have a full no. She was actually like, I'm going to get on my scooter and go to the park.
Go have a conversation with my real mom.
We're going to go see Mother now. And not that mother, the other mother.
No. But, so she goes and is like, I'm very upset to the fountain and her mother, and is like, well, Estella... I'm not Estella anymore. I was never Estella. I am deciding to be Cruella, and I need to get revenge. But I still love you, Mom.
Sorry, Mom, but you're not here to tell me anything. Also, you're not my real mom, so...
Your mother. But
she's wearing a black coat in this moment.
Oh, my gosh.
She still looks very chic, even though she literally was... survived a fire not too long ago.
Survives a fire, steals a motorcycle.
Ooh. Stolen motorcycle. And we check in on the Baroness, and she's pissed again, this time because they couldn't find Cruella's body in that burnt-up heap of a home.
Yeah, the police chief is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
There was no body.
No body. Sorry you jumped the gun, because all of the news stations reported that Cruella was dead. They were like, oh, so sad. Brilliant young artist gone.
Yeah. Just like another headline that just passes away.
Yes. But Cruella, she's like, well, now I really gotta get revenge on my mother. Cause... Yeah,
Cruella has some big... Oh, go ahead.
Oh. Cause, during, this whole little... While John's revealing everything, he's like, FYI, you were the real heir to the entire estate after your father died. So she's like, oh, she didn't just try to kill me, she tried to take all my money? Mm-hmm. Okay.
She wants her money.
She wants her money, but she needs her boys.
She needs the boys.
She needs the boys. She has not been treating them well this whole time. She knows Jasper's upset with her. Because Jasper wants her to do better. I feel like Jasper's kind of sick of this life of crime and is like, let's be better. So, with the help of Wink, because the dogs survive. The dogs survived the fire, everybody.
Thank God. If they passed away in a fire, I was getting ready to turn this off.
I thought Buddy was gonna die. I was like...
I did too.
Him and Wink made it out of the fire as well. And they're ready to help her get the boys out of jail. Cutest jailscape ever.
The cutest. I'm obsessed with these dogs. Every time I see them, I'm like, oh.
I know.
Stealing the scene.
I know. And she gets the boys out, and they come out. She's in the dump truck, and she has the mustache on.
I know. You're not fooling anybody with the mustache.
She has a mustache and a cap on, and it's great disguise.
It's clearly just Emma Stone with a mustache.
Yeah.
There was one little Easter egg I wanted to bring up. When Jasper and Horace are in the jail cell, they're kind of waiting for someone to bring them the key. And just like in Pirates of the Caribbean, the dog walks up and kind of gives them the key through the jail cell, which I thought was a cute little reference.
That is adorable. I did not make that connection.
I don't know if that's what they intended, but that's what I thought of.
I mean, Buddy does look like that dog. I mean, it's not Buddy that brings them the key, but...
No, but the reference is there.
Yes.
The coat that Jasper is wearing is incredible. I love this coat.
Yeah.
Horace is wearing this really great punk jacket that I'm obsessed with also. They're stepping up their fashion at the end of this movie.
Oh, they are. They really are. But I think it's just so they can keep being in Cruella's family.
Yeah. There's a lot of expectations going around right now.
Yeah. So she gets them out of the jail. She explains the whole situation to them and is like, gotta bring down the Baroness still. And Jasper's like, what? No, please, like, I'm done. But she's like, but you're my family, and I'm sorry, and I love you guys. And he's like, no, okay.
Fine,
I was
whatever.
like, that took no convincing whatsoever.
Yeah, very easily convinced Jasper is. He has a hard time saying no.
Yeah. So she gets...
He's like, no, okay.
Yeah. She gets them on board. Then she goes to visit Archie and her mustache.
Artie.
Oh my gosh, why did I call him Archie?
Riverdale. You watched too much Riverdale.
I haven't watched Riverdale in like a year. I quit after the dad died. So Artie, she goes to visit Artie in his shop. He's clearly very upset.
He's distraught. He thinks Cruella's dead, his favorite person ever.
Yeah, and he was like, this was my person. Like, we were doing it. But she comes in and he's like, oh, girl.
With the mustache, man.
And she's like, I have a job for you. So they're all at John's house. He's like, I'm like, where does like the Baroness think John is? Because he's like making them all tea. They're sewing. You're like really not sure what for.
Yeah, they're just preparing, it seems like, for the biggest fashion show in the world.
Yeah.
All in John's tiny little apartment.
I know.
Oh, gosh. And Cruella's on the balcony before this final showdown in this black dress, and she's wearing black lipstick, which I thought was an interesting moment.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that.
I feel like she's just kind of in mourning, you know?
Yeah.
She's mourning, like, the death of her mom, mourning the death of Estella, which we're coming to find out, mourning the death of everything she thought she knew about her life.
Yeah.
You're into it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just here thinking. Because also, like, when John's telling her the story, he's like, yeah, your father just wasted away after you died. And it's like, aw.
It's a terrible thing to keep in your head. So now it's time, Elizabeth, to go to my favorite place, King's Landing. We're going to the capital of all fashion.
So we're actually going to Hellman Hall.
It looks like King's Landing. There's people wearing armor.
It does.
I'm pretty sure I saw Cersei Lannister walk by. Things are turning into a Game of Thrones situation here real quick.
Once again, it's just like the show at the beginning of the movie where it was, you know, very French Revolution, Marie Antoinette, except now it's like very like medieval, King Arthur's court.
Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings.
Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. Let's not go there. So once again, the Baroness is just doing the most.
She is in this silver gown.
Yes.
Draping with chains.
Yes.
I almost thought I saw like a metal corset piece, but then I don't think it was a corset.
I don't think it was a corset, but it was definitely, it was more of like a very elaborate, like, belt.
Yeah. I mean, this outfit is crazy good.
And she is paranoid AF. She is just like, you all better, like, not let this Cruella ruin tonight. Like,
she's out there.
You need to go get her. And they're like, oh, it's fine. We have these really intense tasers now. And she starts tasing everybody.
She tased the maid.
I know.
I cannot believe. She just tased the maid and no one walked out.
Yeah, I'm like, the maid didn't do anything, like, to you. And I'm like, what else has she done that this doesn't seem that crazy to them?
I know. That's terrible. Ugh.
So, right off the bat, though, Cruella's plan is in action even before she arrives at the party. Because it turns out they were sewing the same exact dress over and over and over again and sending it to all the women the Baroness had tackle thrown out of her parties and telling them to come to my party and wear this in honor of our dearly departed Cruella.
Such a great plan. I love this.
It's so good. So the Baroness comes out with her dogs, and she sees a sea of Cruellas.
Her worst nightmare, my fantasy.
And it's hilarious, because, like, her staff is, like, on the lookout for them, and they're like, there's Cruella. No. They just keep tackling women.
Just Cruellas everywhere. This is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. So, and they start infiltrating.
Even Horace is in a Cruella outfit.
Yeah, which was hilarious. Hilarious. He gets all but one of the guards into the library. He traps him in there. And then he's fighting this one guard, but Artie comes saves him. And him and Artie had, like, a really cute relationship throughout this whole thing. That also
They had a little moment right there.
Yeah. But then also, like, with the rugby, I'm like, I see you guys. You're cute.
Yeah, a little connection there. I see it.
A little connection.
We see it. You're not getting by Elizabeth and Spencer.
No.
Now that everyone is dressed up as Cruella, Estella is there. I mean, Cruella. Now that everyone is dressed as Cruella, the real Cruella is there, and she's gonna change into her now alter ego, Estella.
Yeah.
Are you guys keeping up?
After
a lot of Cruella and Estella.
Yes. She's Cruella until the Baroness is forced to make a toast in her honor.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that was good.
That was awkward. She did say earlier, why would I ever toast to someone else besides myself? And now she has to toast to Cruella. That's good. Estella is now dressed as herself, and she, in a way to bring the Baroness outside to the cliff, she stole the Baroness's dog whistle, and she just blows the whistle. The dogs are instantly in a panic. Yeah. We gotta get outside.
We gotta go. Come on.
Who let the dogs out? Estella let the dogs out.
Estella let the dogs out. The Baroness is just being dragged by these Dalmatians. And there's Estella in the same exact spot where her mother died.
Oh, this was so crazy to watch. I did not know what was going to happen, but this is very, very powerful, the imagery of this scene.
It was. And, like, they're seemingly having, like, a heart-to-heart.
Seemingly. I mean, maybe to no one ever, because we can all see the Baroness trying not to crack up laughing.
Yeah.
Trying to be sweet.
She's trying to be sweet. She's being like, well, of course you're this brilliant. You're my child. And as they're having this little moment, Horace, Jasper, Artie, John the footman... No, John the valet. There we go.
The footman? What's a
Oops,
footman?
That's a step down. John the valet. They're all telling, the Baroness would like you on the patio. The Baroness would like you on the patio. So everyone is coming out to the patio and seeing this little mother-daughter moment. And they're seeing the Baroness being like, let me give you a hug. And Estella's like, you're not going to push me over the edge. She's like, oh, no,
No. I would never do that.
No.
Oh my gosh. Estella, you're so funny.
You're so funny. So everyone's out on the balcony, and she's like, you're funny, stupid, and pushes her off.
Yeah. Hello,
over the balcony.
We all saw it coming.
Everyone at the party sees it. She tries to be like, she jumped and tried to take me with her. And everyone's like, We saw and heard. We saw and heard.
We got you. We got you on camera.
We got you. So, Estella's gone. Estella's dead. She straight up murdered Estella.
She straight murdered Estella, but Estella did kind of go down with a parachute, so...
Yeah. So, Cruella could live.
Oh, yeah.
Because somehow, I still don't understand how this worked, that she was able to will the entire Hellman estate to herself.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just goes into the lawyering of this movie. But, yeah. I mean, technically she was the... Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
I mean, I guess if it's, like, classic...
Oh. She said Estella wrote in her will that the fortune and the mansion would go to her good friend Cruella.
Yeah.
I don't know how it passed down. Maybe because I'm not a lawyer.
I mean, Britain also has a bunch of weird laws, especially still back then, about inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
So she could have just automatically had all that, but, like, because no one knew she was alive, it would not.
If we have any lawyers out there, feel free to let us know what just happened here.
any lawyers from the British Isles would be spectacular. I feel like this is a British thing.
We need to have a conversation and figure out what just happened.
We don't have monarchies and ancestral lands passing down over here.
Yeah. So Estella is dead.
Yeah.
But Cruella is alive.
Her boys were there waiting for her to pick her up out of the sea.
Oh, yeah. Her boys picked her up. She even goes to her own funeral, which I felt like, why? If no one attended, why would you attend your own funeral? Why have the funeral?
I mean, I think she's clearly working through a lot.
Yeah, that's true. She's saying goodbye to her former life.
Yes.
I just felt like she could have did that at home with a glass of wine, but to each their own.
And as the Baroness is being carted away by the police, she rolls up at that party as Cruella.
Oh, yeah.
In the car. And
she tells everyone that her new name is Cruella DeVille.
It's spelled devil, but it's pronounced DeVille.
You sound just like her.
No, I don't.
So now Cruella gets to go see her new digs, her new apartment.
John the valet is like, welcome home. She's got her boys with her, Jasper and Horace. Artie's there. They're all looking around. She looks spectacular. She's like, yes, I am the mistress of this home.
Oh, she's wearing this black dress with this cutout back cape. It's like a great cape, but on the back it almost like cuts in like a U.
Yeah. It's very like aristocratic, her look now. But I love like the little chain on her boot still. Oh yeah.
This look is this is a great finale look for Cruella.
And she has the Dalmatians with her because she's like, I'm just as crazy as my mother. I am gonna need these dogs.
I was like, why did she keep the dogs? They don't have a good relationship, but maybe that's the point. She's embracing the things.
She's embracing them.
She's embracing these dogs because they're a part of her, even if they're evil.
Yes. And she goes to the gates of her new home, straight up just takes the man part out of Hellman, and she now lives at Hell Hall.
Welcome to Hell Hall.
She's like, let's get this started.
And that is a great way to end the story of Cruella, which I think this is going to be a story that we get to follow in the years to come.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited that they already have a sequel planned.
Already?
Yeah.
Elizabeth, there is one last thing we need to talk about before we wrap up this episode.
Yeah, there is a little bit of controversy. Not unheard of, but it's a problem.
It's a problem, and I'm about to get real passionate.
Yes. So, recently, Rag and Bone announced that they were going to have a Cruella-inspired line in partnership with Disney, but not in partnership with Jenny Beavan.
Shocking to no one, the costume designer was not involved in this collaboration at all.
Like, this happens all the time. Very rarely are costume designers consulted or compensated for any licensed product based on their designs. I only found 3 times when a costume designer was actually brought in. It was for the Mad Men collection with Banana Republic, the Gossip Girl collection with Miss Selfridge, and Trish Somerville did do a collection with H&M for a Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. However, it is basically just common practice for costume designers not to be compensated when their designs are used for toys, costumes, all the licensed producting. And Beavan told Variety that she was horrified when she saw this. She said, like, she had been consulted before filming that, like, oh, we might, do a fashion line. And she was like, oh, okay. But she's like, I didn't hear anything. To Variety, she said, I quote, "The thing about Cruella is that you've got a film about fashion, about 2 fashion designers. The whole story is them almost having a warfare using fashion. So it's so disrespectful to then bring out fashion lines." So she's like, the whole point is that, they're using fashion to bring each other down, and then you're gonna bring out this fashion line and, like, not include me and not compensate me? Like, it's just not right.
Yeah, here's the deal. I mean, costume designers are the storytellers that make a lot of our favorite movies, TV shows, theater productions, music videos, animations come to life. And we owe a lot of costume designers deserve a lot of credit. Not just credit, but they also deserve to be compensated for their work correctly. I mean, you can't think of this movie, Cruella, even being anywhere near as successful without the work of Jenny Beavan.
Oh, no.
So, at the Art of Costume, it's part of our mission to make sure that we highlight costume designers and their brilliant work. And it's about time the industry starts doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I am so frustrated every time I go to the movies and we see costumes and you can't even figure out who's the costume designer because it's not labeled on the glass. Simple things like that. We need to credit costume designers for their brilliant work.
Oh, yeah. And I think the Costume Designer Guild president, Salvador Perez Jr., he put out, like, a little statement that perfectly encapsulates, what the problem is. He says, "As costume designers, our work has a life beyond the screen. Our work is reproduced for toys, costumes, fashion collections, and more. Not only are we not allowed to participate in the profits made off the merchandising, we aren't even credited for our work in the original designs." And it's just that this is a remnant of the Hollywood system. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a remnant of that, and it's not fair, and it's not right.
That's not fair. Credit costume designers and pay them what they're worth, which is a lot.
It's like they make the look of these iconic characters. The actors bring them to life. It couldn't be done without the actors. But we remember how they look, and that's all down to the costume designer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on that note, we hope that everyone continues to credit costume designers, make sure that they're compensated correctly, and that brings us to the conclusion of our first episode of the Art of Costume Blogcast.
Thank you all for listening. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. It is truly appreciated. If you want some more extra content from us, we are part of the Art of Costume blog. So you can catch our articles from us and a lot of other really talented artists on that website. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Art of Costume or at The Art of Costume _blogcast. Please subscribe to our podcast if you liked what you heard. And if you want to help us out a little bit, get us in the eyes of more people, a 5-star text review is not going to hurt. We would love that. Maybe share it with a friend.
Share with a friend. Everyone loves costumes.
Yeah. Who doesn't love costumes? They're fun.
Well, I hope everyone has a happy 4th of July. And in honor of the 4th of July, Elizabeth, what is our next episode going to be about?
Oh, Spencer. It is my favorite symbol of patriotism. Captain America, the first Avenger.
Ah, Captain America! I'm so excited. I love this movie. I know you all love it too. So watch it this week, and when we're back next week, we're going to talk about Captain America, the first Avenger. Thank you all for listening. This has been fun.
Thank you. Have a good day. The Art of Costume Blogcast is hosted by Elizabeth Joy Glass and Spencer Williams.
Produced by Elizabeth Joy Glass with associate producer Spencer Williams.
Our sound design and engineering is done by Daniel White.
You can follow us on Instagram at the Art of Costume Pod.
Or visit the artofcostumeblogcast.com for all blogcast updates.
For more costume reviews, deep dives, and interviews, visit theartofcostume.com.
A blog dedicated to highlighting the best in costume design.